Welcome to the astrological profile of Mark Carney, the quiet power behind a global leader. So, before we begin, I want to share something important about how I approach astrology. When we look at a natal chart, what we're really seeing is a symbolic map of your soul's unique journey. The energies you were born with, the lessons your soul came here to learn, and the gift you are meant to express and share with the world. A natal chart or a birth chart reveals potentials, strengths, gifts, talents, natural abilities, and your soul's callings. The callings and the gifts that you can cultivate over time. It shows where your energy would flow naturally and where you are most likely to experience satisfaction, fulfillment, growth, and success when you're aligned with your deeper truths. But a chart also reflects and highlights challenges, not as punishments, but as opportunities for evolution. These are areas of tension, conflict, or more of internal conflicts or internal resistance that may arise. They often point to the sacred work your soul chose to engage with in this lifetime so you can become a fuller, more conscious expression of who you truly are. So, in today's analysis, we'll explore both the potential and the challenges reflected in the chart of Mark Carney, always with the intention of bringing more clarity into his soul path. I have to say that, in my view, this chart really carries a lot of heavy karmic weight with serious hidden dynamics, um, strong confrontation and psychological tension, and this confrontation or conflict between idealism and reality. So I'll present the analysis, which is not meant to judge, just to bring soul level understanding and healing potentials to light. So let me share with you the chart. I think I'm still recording. Okay, perfect. So I usually look first at the moon tribe or the moon sign that soul belongs to. In this case, we're looking at the chart of Mark Carney. Why is important? Because the moon sign offers information about the sacred tasks that someone needs to express in order to feel fulfillment and to feel satisfaction and to not feel empty, to feel meaning, and also emotional evolution. So, Mr. Carney belongs to the group of souls as part of the Virgo moon tribe. His moon is placed in the sixth house. So, he is very called to refine work, to heal and improve systems through practical service. His emotional fulfillment comes from bringing order out of chaos and serving something greater than himself. However, the moon dialogues with Mars, with Pluto, with Uranus, with Uranus, I'm sorry, with Saturn and in opposition and Venus as well. So this really highlights an intense inner pressure. So his soul must learn, and these planets here, he has a lot of planets placed in the 12th house. And the 12th house is about what we hide. Imagine that this is a house completely, and each one is a room. The 12th house would be the basement. It contains the things that we hide from everybody else, the things that we don't want other people to know about, to see. Um, this is about really kind of secrets, and sometimes this isolation as well. So when I see these oppositions with the moon, which is the emotional part of ourself, the emotional body, this really highlights the need for him to balance the emotional and having that emotional control with emotional empowerment. So embracing vulnerability without fear of losing strength is very important. His moon is also squaring the nodes, the north node and the south node, which points to emotional mastery as a sacred step that is necessary for his soul to growth. And that step is not an easy one to take because we're looking at a square. So this means tension. It's not easy to let go, to embrace the other part, to let go of what we once were, even in a past life, and what that soul is has come here to do. Another point that I look into is the sacred cross, which is formed by the ascendant, the descendant, the imukweli, or and the midheaven. So he's an ascendant or Taurus rising. This gives him a very grounded leadership, presence, and this is very amplified also by Jupiter, having Jupiter in Taurus and the ascendant, so that earth sign coming here to create something substantial in the third world, something real in the world, like tangible stuff. He is an Scorpio descendant that calls him to offer depth and transformation in relationships. So let's remember also that Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, which is about drive, motivation, but also about power and power over others. So with a Scorpio here, there is that possibility also of, yes, understanding others at a deeper level. Especially, in that opposite with Neptune so close to it, there can be also that confusion in terms of maybe seeing what I want to see instead of seeing the reality, and that kind of like that power play here. Cancer is in the Imukoeli, which is here, which is the fourth house, and it's talking about emotional sensibility, family legacy, and the need also to have that inner safety. Family is important. Having tradition in a way is also very important. Capricorn is on his midheaven that points to a mission to be responsible in terms of his leadership, having ethical achievement and lasting impact, working for things, being able to work usually in an environment that is very serious. There's a hierarchy. Being in businesses and companies that have a hierarchy that are very clear, and to create a structure. So the sacred cross is really not without intention, especially with the planetary oppositions that emphasize the dance between emotional vulnerability with Cancer and that public strength and public structure with Capricorn. Another point that we look at is the karmic evolution, where we come from, where we need to go with the lunar nodes. South node in Sagittarius and the North node in Gemini. So Mr. Carney's soul journey really moves from that Sagittarius south node that is about a past tied to coming from past lives as well, and also ancestral, the history. So a past tied to ideology, partnerships, because this is the seventh house, partnership, and a lot of philosophical over identification with, Sagittarius, life philosophy that is expansive towards Gemini North Node in the second house. Why do we say the second? Because it's just at the cusp. But if we take the Ptolemaic degrees, this is really influencing the second house. So his soul growth lies in cultivating clarity with Gemini, cultivating simplicity, self-worth, because it's the second house, and having tangible skills, communication, ownership of a lot of personal values, and having a presence, a grounded presence are key to fulfill his soul path. The moon and Mars are squaring the nodes, revealing then important steps. So he must integrate that emotional awareness, taking action to move towards his evolutionary path. We look also for how we can materialize, how can we bring all of those qualities that we talk about in his chart as part of his soul. How can we bring it to earth and work with it in the real world? And we look at the earth houses. So the second house, we see that the North Node in Gemini is there. So this is about developing and independence, to have a grounded communication, to have financial wisdom. The sixth house, which is so full also for him, it's very curious how we see these two houses in opposition, right? The 6th and the 12th, and those are the houses that have basically all of the planets there. So the opposition. The sixth house then holds the moon, Uranus, Pluto, Mars, and Neptune. So it talks about the sacred service that must be balanced with personal healing, leading through refinement with old Virgo, not overworking, really not burnout. Having that well, I'm going to talk. I have at the end planned to talk about the challenges that this chart is showing. So I will continue with the potentials first, and then we talk about the challenges. So I don't want to mix everything. Let's just be clear and have kind of like a structure. So then the other house that I will take a look at is the 10th house, which is the midheaven, talks about the vocation, the career, how we are here really to share our gifts and our talents with the world. So with Capricorn, this is really about having a structure, having a discipline, determination, work ethic in order to inspire others and express that vocation. So if we look at this, his success really comes when he anchors, he's able to anchor service, self worth, and leadership, ethical leadership into the real world structures. Abundance, success, and motivation. Then we're talking about Venus in Pisces in the 12th house. We're talking about Jupiter in Taurus on the cusp of the Ascendant, Mars in Virgo in the 6th house is retrograde, and also the Sun in Pisces in the 12th house. So, with Venus in Pisces in the 12th house, we talk about, or we can see the potential of someone that can be deeply spiritual, have a very artistic sensitivity. A lesson here is to allow himself to receive love, to receive abundance through compassion. Let's remember that Venus in Pisces is exalted, is in exaltation. So Venus is very happy being in Pisces. It feels amazing, Venus there. And it expresses also a side of Venus that is about compassion, understanding others, loving others, right? So this is the potential there. Also, Jupiter in Taurus in the ascendant, having a natural ability to create wealth, to create something tangible, to have success with visionary ideals, and combining that vision and ideals with tangible action that is rooted in values. Mars in Virgo in the 6th house is about motivation. It's retrograde. So this one, it's a little bit, it takes more of his time to take action. This is showing really an inner drive for improvement, for perfecting things, making things work better, having a lot of discipline, and not being reactive, being more in control, and taking his time to take decisions. The Sun in Pisces in the 12th is really also talking about the potential of someone that can be driven by compassion, by spirituality, really kind of like meant to shine quietly, right? Because the sun is where we shine, and the 12th house is the basement. So, the basement of the house. So, basically, all of these planets here is really showing, oh my God, how we say in Spanish, we say el poder detrás de la corona. So I don't know if the phrase to translate in English would be exactly this, but it's something kind of like the power behind the crown. You let me know if that expression in English exists. So this is really the power behind the crown, someone that influences other, who is really the one taking the decisions, but very quietly and powerfully. Um, so, as a final reflection here about the potentials, his greatest legacy as a soul um, will not necessarily be found in the systems he could build or the policies he would reform, but on how he would be able to bridge order with compassion and bring structure with soul and with kindness, and having that personal mastery with service to the collective. And like I said at the beginning, this chart really reveals a lot of heavy karmic weight and, like I said, hidden dynamics. And I want to talk about that now, about those challenges that really shows up. This is not an easy chart. And to me, I always find the the people with a lot of things in the 12th house, I find it very challenging because it's so hidden, it's so subconscious, the 12th house, that I find it challenging, even though I have a moon in Scorpio and I have a lot of Scorpio energy. Is challenging this house because there's a lot of things that could be hidden. But then he also has a lot of oppositions and squares. So there's a lot of tension. This is why I say there's tension here. There's power play dynamics that show up. So, like I said, there's this heavy 12th house stellium that shows secrets, isolation, and a lot of inner conflict with the Sun, Venus, Saturn, and well, Mercury and Jupiter are also there, but the stellium here is these three planets. So this is really showing again a lot of subconscious patterns and karmic residue. So these stelliums really suggest hidden wounds from the past around self-worth because of Venus and Saturn that really could manifest as self-sabotage, secret fears, or having a lot of secrets, difficulty also receiving emotional support, um, difficulty showing himself as he is, like being truly seen despite having all the public achievements. There is like a veil. It's almost um like, even though he's in the public eye, under the public eye, it's like maybe he's not very comfortable when he is having all of that attention and all of those. It's like he, he would feel uncomfortable because he would need to be asked questions that he would not want to answer. That he would feel like a violation of his privacy, of kind of like, why do I have to answer this? Well, now you're a public figure, right? And it is really shows that it can be extremely uncomfortable for him to be truly seen and to hide his real identity. This real identity might remain hidden, even from himself, like not wanting to see part of himself sometimes. That there's a lot of potential, for secrecy, whether personal or professional or both. That tension that I was mentioning, between the public image and the privacy and private struggles. So the 12th house really often forces someone to carry burdens that are very unseen to others. So, as a soul, he must learn that true power comes not from hiding who you are, not from hiding vulnerabilities, but from integrating them into leadership with compassion and with humility. So the oppositions between the 6th house and the 12th house, it shows a tension between service, that there is Virgo, and surrender, and over idealism with Pisces. So this tension is really between maybe action and vulnerability, that can show up as needing control, needing to fix, um, having a clash between how much I can give, surrendering to a situation, and trying to control the result of something. This is a struggle here, wanting to control, the want to control. It struggles also with perfectionism and compassion. So always maybe trying to do something in a specific way because that is the right way. Um, and then battling, having a battle inside of maybe guilt, sadness, unhealed wounds, unhealed story here. There's a potential here to emotional isolation as well. This is the house of isolation. There's a tendency maybe to sacrifice the emotional part or hide it for the sake of how I'm going to be seen or how I need to be seen. So without having a conscious integration of who I am, that the emotional part of myself, there is, that risk, that challenge to um, really do the work that you came here to do with compassion. There is also, you see this opposition here between Jupiter and Neptune. So there is kind of like a battle between idealism and reality. This is the illusion, Neptune, right? In Scorpio is very much related to power, to sexuality. And this is idealism, but this is ideals. This is a life philosophy, but this is something tangible because it's in Taurus. So it's really showing an energy of the need to live this the battle between illusion and the battle between practicality. So how much of my ideas can I really take and bring it down to earth and create something that is real? Or am I staying so much in the extreme idealism and not being able to be real and create something concrete that is going to be long term and that is real, right? Um, so this is more about sustainability versus then the temptation of over idealizing situations and maybe trusting the illusions, especially in terms of relationships. Because let me see, no, it's okay. Yeah, the sixth house is right. I was counting to see if this it really influences the seventh house, but no, it's okay. All right. So this is also this confusion can come up also, like I said, at some type of the beginning, saying that it can really show up also as seeing in others what I want to see instead of seeing the reality. So misjudgment of others. So kind of like having a blurred line between ethical aspirations and then the real world application, what I can really do. So this brings really idealistic promises that are very difficult to fulfill. Feeling frustration when reality doesn't match expectations, and having that challenge in between maintaining clear ethical boundaries in environments also where secrecy or collective interests are very complex. Like, for example, in global finance, where he has dedicated his life. Um, I'm also going to mention here the Mars, Pluto, Uranus, and the Moon cluster in Virgo. So these, especially, honestly, this is an explosive inner tension because these are Pluto and Mars, and then we're adding Uranus here, which is the surprise, the sudden. this is a lot about potential power struggles, enormous internal tension. So it's a profound need to reform, to improve, and control, because we're talking about Virgo, may have these impulses towards radical change, changing something and putting himself and others under immense pressure, and at the same time, emotional suppression. This is showing really also a risk of, this is all in conjunction, um, a, a risk of internalizing anger, frustration, desire to power, desire to control, having this even at a subconscious level. So this is a cluster here, stellium, that shows a lot of inner conflicts that may unintentionally or intentionally create crisis as a means of catalyzing change that he would he would deem necessary. And these changes is also, this is inside himself, but also in the systems that he manages. And let me see, am I missing something? I have in my notes. Um, I think that's it. Really, well, the moon, I mentioned this already, like the moon and Mars squaring the North Node and the South Node is really talking about the need to have an emotional regulation and taking the right action, the appropriate action. There is a need to learn to have presence, to be present, to have that emotional intelligence, to be a good communicator, and to have tangible actions. So that's it. What do you think about this chart analysis? Share with me. I would like to know what are your thoughts. Um, I thank you for joining me on this journey through the soul blueprint of Mark Carney. I hope this reading has really offered a deeper insight and a sense of understanding or learning more about the bigger story of his soul. So if you have enjoyed this exploration, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future videos where we continue to dive into astrology, soul purpose, leadership, and personal evolution. I am planning on doing a series of videos. I am really trying to have that done as soon as possible, but I would like to do an analysis of who can be looking through astrology, who can be a better prime minister, if Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre. Also looking into the solar return of both of them, and what are the possibilities for either or. Maybe if I have time before the elections, maybe I can do it. I hope so. Also, I want to do the birth chart of Canada. So I have a lot of things that I'm planning to do. So stay tuned, subscribe so you can be notified when those videos are up. So also, you will help me a lot if you feel free to like, share, or please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts or any reflections that have really resonated with you. And if you're interested in a personal astrology consultation to uncover your own soul's map, you can find more information in my website, lauratio.com. Remember, your chart is not a limit It is a really, it's a living invitation to embody your highest potential with purpose, grace, and authenticity. So until next time, and take care of your soul and trust the path that's unfolding for you. See you next time.